Disaster Council's premier information gathering on what to do when, as I saw the balloon falling from the sky, literally, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. We've heard that when we were children, and we would laugh, and we would read the story, and then we would go home and life would be safe, because our parents were there to take care of us. Now we are the adults, and people look to us when they hear, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. What do we say? What do we do? How do we react? There are many people in this room who have great experience in disaster preparedness, and they've never had to use it, and we give thanks to God that that has not occurred. But there are also some, perhaps in this room, that have had a disaster, that they've had to pull out those plans, or they've had to fly by the seat of their pants and then put a plan together and say, and this is what we've learned. I grew up in San Diego, and so for the past 50 years, I have seen tremendous change occur in our city. Some of it by plan and some of it by not so well planned. I'm going to take you back in history about 13 years ago. If you were in San Diego County, you remember what we were doing 13 years ago. We were reeling in the midst of a 2003 firestorm. For those of you who weren't here, let me give you a brief synopsis. October 25th, 2003, the Cedar Fire began in the Cuyamaca Mountains. It was reported initially at 5:37 p.m. in South Ramona. And within 10 minutes of the initial report, 10 fire engines, 2 water tenders, 2 hand crews, and 2 chief officers were deployed. And within 30 minutes, 320 firefighters and 6 fire chiefs were en route. There was a sheriff's helicopter that was equipped with a Bambi bucket and was dispatched to drop water. But then it was called back because helicopters were not allowed to fly 30 minutes before sunset. So, in the middle of the night, the Santa Ana winds kicked up, and approximately 5,320 acres began to burn furiously. By 3 a.m., 62,000 acres had burned, and overnight, the fire killed 12 people in Wildcat and Muth Valley. Destroyed 39 homes on the Verona Indian Reservation, and the Cedar Fire pushed southwest over 30 miles and burned over 100,000 acres at a rate of 6,000 acres per hour. By noon on the 26th, the fire was burning hundreds of homes in Scripps Ranch. On October 28th, the winds died down and the fires shifted back. The entire community of Cuyamaca State Ranch, and 500 homes in Julian were lost. What did we learn? We learned a lot. And that was important because 4 years later, almost to the day, on October 21st, a power line arced due to the Santa Ana winds, and a small fire started in Ramona in the Witch Creek area. And by 4 a.m. on the 22nd, it had made its way to the San Diego city limits. Also at that time, the Harris Fire was burning in our South County and parts of Tecate. There was no damage to the city of San Diego, but the outlying county areas, and 5 deaths were reported. Also on October 22nd, fire started in the San Pasqual Valley, and the 2, Witch Creek and the Gajejo fire merged. These were 2 of the 21 fires in Southern California at that time. What did we learn? We learned lots. We learned that helicopters can fly at night. We learned about reverse 211. 911, and that we can notify people. In the second firestorm, 500,000 people were evacuated. Fewer lives were lost. So, when we hear about firestorms, earthquakes, civil disturbances, flooding, which can all occur here in San Diego County and have occurred in San Diego County, what is our response? What is our response to our home, our house of worship, our community, indeed to our neighbors on this side of the border and on other sides? What do? We plan in advance. So for those of you who are here, thank you. Thank you for coming and getting information on what you can do. For those of you who have plans in place, thank you for coming and sharing with those at your table what you have in place. And for those of you who are our experts today, thank you for coming and sharing with us your knowledge of what you can help us prepare for and what your limitations are so we can be better prepared. Thank you, John Adams, for helping us to coordinate all of this. If you've not met John, he is a strong driving force in the good sense of the way for why we are doing what we do. It's because we care. It's because we care about the people we worship with and the people that we are getting to know in our communities. Today I've had the privilege of meeting a new friend, Lane Smith. He is responsible for us being here in this location. And so I would like to turn the microphone over now to Lane as we welcome him to share a word with you.
Thank you, Jerry, very much. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you here. This is my home away from home. I spend a lot of time here, as we all do in our various church buildings, houses of worship across the county. So thank you for joining us here. We are honored to have you here. Just a couple of housekeeping rules. We do have bathrooms on this side and bathrooms on that side, drinking fountains on either side, and obviously you found us here in the center. You can go out any exit and be just fine. So in case of emergency, we want to plan ahead. So thank you very much. I know there was an email that went out that was maybe not received with the greatest of joy when there was no coffee, no tea, and some of those things. We appreciate you honoring our code of health that forbids us from participating in tea and coffee and alcohol. So we appreciate that. We are a little peculiar, but aren't we all? So this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, very, very commonly known as the Mormons. As we look around the world today, too, I was thinking about some of the similarities. We don't always know what the disasters are going to be. We don't know if it's going to be a fire. We don't know if it's going to be an earthquake. But we look at the refugees that are being displaced from their homes across the world in unprecedented numbers. We've never seen this before. In a small way, our faith began as, we didn't call them refugees, but we were persecuted in the early part of our church, and we were sent across the West as pioneers. And we pioneered our way west and established in Salt Lake City, Utah, and spread out from there. But it's in a similar sense that we have no idea what exactly we might be preparing for, but as congregations, we have a responsibility to prepare. As individuals, individual accountability. In our faith, we often teach that the first 72 hours is on us. The city services and others will be depleted, and for first responders, they'll be elsewhere. And so we try to prepare our members and prepare our neighbors as best we can to be independent for those first 72 hours. And we know that, but do we do that? And so these refreshers are good. You are responsible for so many individuals in your stewardship. And so we hope that we're just grateful to host this today and glad that we can be a part of this. And we hope you take notes, and not just take notes and put them in your folder and keep them there for next time so you feel like you've done your part, but spread that word, spread that good word that we have to share that with others and what can be done. And even baby steps, we can help ourselves, our families, our communities, our congregations, So we appreciate you being here. So if you would bow your head with me for a word of prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we are very grateful to be gathered here today. We are mindful that we represent hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals in San Diego County and surrounding areas. And may we be stewards of this message that's being brought to us today, and that we might share that with passion and with urgency, and be able to spread that preparation that we know brings peace in time of chaos. Our hearts and prayers go out to the refugees in so many countries and organizations that are helping them throughout the world. We pray for peace in those situations where thy blessings can pour out upon everyone involved. We know we are all thy children, that we may not understand the suffering and the pain and why we may not suffer but others do, but please give us all in our time of need. We pray thy blessings to be here this day upon those who will present and those of us who will receive, that we would all be edified. And in his name we pray. Amen.
My name is Terry Sorensen, and I have the pleasure and privilege of serving with John Adam on the Interfaith Disaster Council. And I'm pleased to introduce our first presenter today. And she's someone that I've been getting to know over this last year, and really appreciate all the talents and gifts that she brings to the table. Her name is Julie Jekyll. And Julie has worked in the fields of emergency management, community engagement for over a decade, serving in both the nonprofit and government sector. She currently serves as the Emergency Services Coordinator with the County of San Diego Office of Emergency Services, where she is responsible for coordinating efforts related to emergency sheltering, access and functional needs planning, emergency feeding operations, transportation planning, and spontaneous volunteer management. Prior to joining Office of Emergency Services, or OES as we like to say, Julie served as the Emergency Services Coordinator for the City of Carpinteria. During this time, she focused heavily on writing emergency operations plans and procedures. Since 2001, Julie has shared her volunteer management expertise at the state level as a subject matter expert on California Volunteers Disaster Volunteer Management Curriculum Development Team. Additionally, from 2009 to 2015, she served as a credentialing committee member with the Council for Certification in Volunteer Administration. So thank you, Julie, for being with us today and being our presenter. You guys are in for a lot of great information. And I will turn the time over to you.